Hey, welcome back to the channel. In our past videos, we've looked at a lot of modifications for handheld systems and for some consoles. And a lot of those modifications have been replacing the screen in our handheld systems. Because, well, the original screens were really bad, and modern screens are very nice. So one of the things we've never looked at was an IPS screen in a Game Boy Pocket. And today's video, that's exactly what we're going to do. Also, we've turned on a new feature called Super Thanks, and that link is right down below. It's a way to help support the channel if the content you're viewing is helpful to you. So, if you stick around, we're going to help you install that screen. All right, on the bench today, we have a Game Boy Pocket, and this one came to us because, as you can see, it has a damaged screen. The owner asked if we could do an IPS on it, and I said, absolutely. Now, I don't normally do IPS screens on Game Boy Pockets just because, sorry, I'm just looking for a test cartridge. Just because it only has a pair of AAA batteries in it. So the IPS will burn a little bit more power, but just like any of the other ones, they look great once they've got a new screen in them. I'm just making sure that the system is working, and it looks like it is. So I guess we just need to get into this one. We've got some tri-wing screws, assuming nobody has messed with it, and yep, they look like tri-wing. Okay, let's set that aside, and we can just continue with our disassembly. Now we've got 3 Phillips screws. And from here we can disconnect our ribbon cable. We just have to lift on the bail, both sides. And since our screws are out, we can just lift our board and carefully wiggle out our connector, like that. Since we're here, we might as well clean our contacts. Don't want to give the customer back something with buttons that are sticking. Although this one is really pretty clean inside. You got a little bit of something right there, but for the most part, looks pretty good. We'll just set these aside for now. Oh, something I've been meaning to ask all the viewers about. I have been fast forwarding whenever I've come to a section where I'm removing screws, just because I'm assuming you don't want to sit there for the full time. Make a comment down below. Do you think it's better to fast forward showing the entire process? Or should I just say, hey, I'll be back after this is apart? Let me know what you think. But now that we are apart, we can go ahead and get our screen out. Oh, we got one more bit of plastic, our switch. We can set that aside for now. The easiest way to get these out is just give them a little twist. And, at this point, our glue is old, and they come right out. Now, in this case, normally I wouldn't care, because you can see there's actual damage in the screen. But the customer actually asked for the old screen back. But we can absolutely give them that screen back, because it was going to hit the trash can anyway. Also in this build, we're going to replace that lens. So because it's apart, that's the easiest way to get it out. And we can stick it right there. All right, so now we're into it completely. At this point, if you notice that it needs a cleanup in around the shell, this is a good time to do it. But this one's actually really pretty clean. Normally you find soda in behind the speaker grill and junk right in around this edge. But in this case, there's nothing. So one thing we do need to do is remove some of this plastic. I think we're going to leave this, and I think we leave the bottom, but we need to definitely trim out this whole side so we have room for this, this screen. You know what? Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to verify exactly what's getting removed, and I'll be right back. All right, we're back, and as I thought, we're removing most of this border. We're going to leave this little top bit. We're going to leave this side, and that's about it. And, like in my other videos, flush cutters are probably the best way to deal with this. You can make some snips down and around. We're actually going to leave this edge, so we want to remove that. And as you can see, it makes kind of quick work out of this. It gets right down into the edge of the plastic. And I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. And I'll be right back. All right. That did pretty good. Like I've said, the flush cutters are great for removing the bulk. And in my other videos, using a chisel on a hobby knife will remove any of the high spots. It doesn't have to look pretty, it just needs to not be poking out. We don't want to crack the screen on accident. And speaking of that, our friends at Handheld Legend, which is where most of these kits come from, always want us to test the screens before we go ahead and mount them. So we're going to do that. Also, for people who are just starting to join in on our videos, there are some discount codes below from Handheld Legend. So let's go ahead and look at this screen. And we'll get our motherboard. And might as well turn on our power supply because we'll need it. There's 3 volts. All right, so get a little piece of paper towel to set our screen on. The IPS screens are fairly fragile, so you want to be careful when you're working with them. Now this one's already clipped onto the board, and we will, let's see, this is going to be in the shell like this. Since we're sitting here, we might as well put a little double-sided tape under that. Did they give us any? Well, we got a couple other things we can look at. We've got the films for insulation. Attach this one on the back of the screen. There we go. Now, just looking at that, it almost looks like that's, that's a little piece of double side right there. And I'm sure that's to stick our screen on. And we'll stick our board on nice and square. Like that. All right. Now there is a couple little spots here, and I believe we have to run a power wire. So let's go ahead and heat up our iron. And we will get a wire. This one here, we got ground, select, AB, and battery. I believe the only thing we need to hook up is our power, since this does have the touch sensors. All right. It's going to be like this. going to be ribbon up. So this is going to flip, and this is going to be ribbon down. Like that. And this is the insulation film for the back of the circuit board. So we'll go ahead and carefully stick that on. Yeah, it's not going to stick very well right now. We may have to just, well, we'll set it there. And our ribbon can go in like that. Just going to go ahead and give our switch just a real quick cleaning. And let's see, the wire we're going to hook to for some power is going to be the common one. You can see it marked here, 1, C, 2, and 3. So we're just going to put a little flux right on our common. I'm going to get a little fresh solder on it. I really should be using a small chisel tip, but we got the little curved hook on it right now. There we go. So it should work fine. And we'll get some tweezers so we can position it better. Trim a little off. That. All right. So that's it. And we can get power from our power supply, and we'll see if this screen's working. All right, let's see. Well, it helps to turn on our power supply. All right, there we go. There we go. Our screen's on. These touch sensors should give us some brightness. And of course we don't have a cartridge in, but that's all we need to know. The screen's not cracked, the screen's not damaged. All right, good. So we can take this wire back off. And we can remove our circuit board again. All right. So let's go back to this. Here is the double-sided tape they're giving us. It's got 2 cutouts, this little notch, so it's going to fit like this. You know what? We're going to leave it all together. It'll stay rigid. I was about ready to pull out the center, but it may be easier to install if we just do it like this. And looks like it lines up pretty good. Yes, much easier leaving the center in, but we do waste all that good double-sided tape. I don't know, we might be able to save that. You know, stuff like that's always good to keep in the shop. Oops. All right, so we'll just push it down and around. We can use a little spudger for that. Now, one of the things I didn't talk about, you can see here we had to trim a little bit of our power light away. Not all Game Boy Pockets have that power light, matter of fact. This one happens to have it. And right off of these screws, there was just a small raised spot on both of these. And I just used the chisel and I just came straight down and trimmed them off. So basically we removed everything other than right to these bolts. Obviously this doesn't matter because the screen's going to sit across here. And this very top bit, all the rest get removed, plus a little bit of the power light. Oops, making a mess. Sorry about that. Okay. So from here, we can move our touch sensors out of the way, we can lift our ribbon, and it's time to remove the protective film from the IPS. Don't pull this fast because these little IPS screens are fragile and you don't want to accidentally pull it hard enough to flex the the panel. All right. Oops. Still need to remove the backing from our double side. Now we can set our screen in. And it's going to push against this edge and the top. All right, I'm seeing one problem. Can you see what it is? Looks like it's actually touching where our button is. So we're gonna carefully lift it back up, hoping it doesn't flex because it is on some of the tape. You need to take a little bit of that top out. These ABS shells are nice to work with just because the plastic is still soft. For whatever reason, if you work with a SP, Game Boy Advanced SP that's an actual 101 type, the plastic in those shells, whatever they were using, is just super, super brittle. And since this is much lower, I'm going to take just a little bit more off each one. But since the bottom of this is lower, than the space for the screen, we don't have to worry about getting it super flush. All right, so let's see. This edge to the top bit. There we go. Now it fits down inside. Always take your time, especially when you don't know exactly how things are going to fit. And, you know, that's the other thing. I've done several of these kits, but the versions change, the fitment changes, the suppliers change. Even though they're coming from Handheld Legend, you can always get the funny playing screen, but, you know, they'll go through revisions. But on Handheld Legend, they always mark them as unbranded. And I've noticed over the years, you know, I'll buy one screen that I really like, and it might be a version 2, and the next version 2 I get is a little different. So anyway, that should be fine, but let's go ahead and check this. We may actually have to trim our D-pad. Nope, our D-pad fits just fine. So we'll just move it out of the way for a second. Let's find a good place to stick our switches. I think this one we're going to put in this edge since there's an opening. Our slide switch is going to be right here. So let's get some sharp tweezers and we can get the back off this copper. And we can put it right down in there. And here again, we can use our spudger to push it into place. This other one, I don't see double-sided on it. Let's just go ahead and make sure it's in straight, because it looked like it was a little wonky. And we're just gonna put it in the top here, like that. All right. Got our film in place to protect the board. And let's go ahead and get our buttons back down. And we'll think about getting our board tucked back in. There's our power switch. Make sure it's in whichever position so you don't have one on and one on off and you push up on it. All right, we'll put our screen aside for just a moment and we can position our circuit board. Make sure the speaker's in the right spot and there we go. And we can get our Phillips screws back in to hold everything in place. I am going to do one thing over here, and since, oh, perfect, look at that. If I can reach it. Or not. Okay, hold on. Okay. Since this touch sensor didn't have any kind of tape on it, I usually keep little blocks of foam that I can cut and trim just to help shim things. And we're just gonna tuck a little piece of foam in there to hold it in place. Like that. That's just gonna keep the sensor up to the top bit of plastic here. All right, so everything looks like it's fitting fairly well. Get this ribbon back in. like that. And then we can solder this wire back in place. Now, we should trim this off a bit, but we actually have quite a bit of room up in the top of the Game Boy. So I'm just gonna go ahead and solder it and then tuck the excess back up top. All right. But you definitely want to tuck this away. You don't want it just sitting up in here because that's where our cartridge is going to be. And even though there's a little shield to keep it safe, we don't want it getting pinched either. Just because, you know, there are some sharp edges and it's going to be a power wire. All right, so everything's in place. Our contacts are clean. We don't need to do any cleaning here. Everything's hooked up. We can button this up. Get rid of those. That's murder getting old. You know what, just for giggles, we're just gonna put 2 screws in it for now. And we'll come back and put the rest in when we know everything's working right. Oh, we still need to put our... Well, you know what? We're going to put 3 in. Make sure that we've got the top captured correctly. Okay, we don't have any dust or fingerprints there. Let's go ahead and get our glass on. And, like I've said in every one of these videos, make sure you get that center out. Nothing's worse than popping it on and realizing that the center's still in it. Trust me, I've done it several times. And digging it apart again is just kind of a pain. All right, so that's nice and clean. And these lenses I get from Handheld Legend are always just fit just so nice. And of course they're glass. This particular one's glass. They're not always glass. Just do a little cleanup real quick. And we'll pop in a couple batteries. And we'll put in a basic cartridge. All right, let's keep our fingers crossed and see what we got. There we go. And let's see, we got the, I have to think where everything is. I think here's our brightness. There we go. Look at that. Nice bright screen, everything's good. And this side should be our color palettes. Looks like it's, there we go. Got a number up there. It's going through all the different palettes. How many are there? 30, 31, 2, 4, 5. Looks like 36. So, there you have it. An IPS install on a Game Boy Pocket. And like I was saying, I put some fresh batteries in it just because even if there's enough to boot the board, doesn't necessarily mean there's enough to boot this screen. So the downside is you've got to keep fresh batteries in a pocket to keep it running. But on that note, if you have any comments or any questions, go ahead and make them down below. If you'd like to see content done a little different and you have to give us a thumbs down because of something you don't like, make a comment. Let us know what we can change. Otherwise, hit that thumbs up because it does help. Also, hit the bell notification and make sure to hit the subscribe. I appreciate you being here, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks.